Hey there, I'm Lisa from the Merry Mama, and I am so glad that you've joined me today. Actually, I am super glad that you're watching today because this week's chat is really important to me. It's also pretty honest and vulnerable, so it's a little scary to share, but I think it's so important for women to hear that I'm putting on my big girl panties and I'm getting real with you. This week I put up a post on my blog called The Do's and Don'ts of Exercising While Pregnant, and I'm not going to share specifically on that today, although I will put a link in the description in case you're interested. But I'm going to share along the lines something related to some things that I shared in that post. Today I'm going to share about a major shift that I made in how I think about diet and exercise. So ever since puberty, really, I have struggled with body image issues. I think we all have at some point in our lives, haven't we? I started getting healthier in my senior year of college, and some of that might have something to do with meeting a special fella that I thought was pretty hunky. But it also was because I had a roommate at the time who was an exercise science major, and she really inspired me to start exercising regularly again. And I found that I really liked the way that it made me feel, and I really liked the physical changes that it was making. So I kept working out regularly for several years and eating healthy, or what I thought was healthy anyway. But, and here's where I really start getting honest and vulnerable, my motivation was never truly about being healthy or doing what was best for my body. Guys, honestly, it was about trying to achieve the kind of body shape that I wanted, a body that I could finally like. After several years of this, however, I had a couple of epiphanies that changed the way I think about diet and exercise forever. So the first epiphany, I finally realized one day that no matter how hard I work out, no matter how much weight I lose or what weight I get down to, I was never going to look like that certain ideal I had in my head. I just wasn't, because that wasn't my body shape. Listen, I am 5'2.5". My husband makes fun of me for insisting on that half, but hey, when you are under 5'5", every half an inch counts. So I am 5'2.5", which means I'm fairly on the short side, and I also just have a naturally curvy shape. I have hips and I have a butt, and no amount of working out is ever going to change that. And you know what? And sorry if this is a little TMI, but my husband loves those hips and he loves that butt. So really, why would I want to change that? Embracing the shape that God gave me was the first step that I needed to make in developing a healthier attitude toward diet and exercise, but I still had a lot to learn. So, epiphany number 2. My second epiphany really didn't come until maybe about a year ago. Andrew was 1, Aiden was 3, so I had these 2 little kids, and I was having a really hard time keeping up with 2 very active little boys. The physical strain of all the lifting and the carrying and the wrestling was really wearing me out. I mean, just getting them in and out of their car seats a couple of times on errand day wore me out. Like, it wore me out for the rest of the day. And I reached a point where I was just so stinking tired of feeling run down and weak all the time. I felt like I couldn't do what I needed to do, and I wanted more energy to take care of my boys, and I wanted more strength to take care of my boys. And that's when I started seriously thinking more about fueling my body and strengthening it to enable it to do what I needed it to do, rather than just beating it into submission. So first came the change in my attitude toward food. Honestly, for a long time, I was way too preoccupied with calories. I counted calories, I prioritized calories, I stressed about calories. I made 99% of my food decisions based on calories, not nutrients, not how the food made me feel, not whether it fueled me or energized me or satisfied me, but whether I had enough calories left in my allotment for the day to eat what I was thinking about eating. But once I realized that I couldn't be the mom I wanted to be without some more strength and energy, I got serious about making decisions based on what was best for the inside of my body rather than the outside. I got serious about thinking about food groups and nutrients and what was in food and what my body needed and returning to whole natural foods. I thought about what was going to keep me full so that I didn't crash and grow weak in the middle of the day. I thought about what was going to give me energy and keep my body running well. I also majorly shifted the way I thought about exercise. I stopped thinking about it in terms of punishment for what I ate or prevention to keep those unwanted pounds away. Instead, I tried to think about what would empower my body to do the things that I needed it to do. And don't get me wrong, I still think it's important to exercise regularly, and I still do. In fact, I think it's vital for keeping your body running well. But I don't focus so much on steps and calories burned. Now I'm focused on regular cardio for endurance and strength training, so I have the strength for all that kid wrangling that I have to do. None of these changes mean that I've become complacent about maintaining a healthy weight. That's still important to me. And it doesn't mean that I no longer struggle with body image or comparison. I wish I could say that was true, but I still do. But it does mean that I've adopted what I believe is a much healthier attitude toward diet and exercise, and I believe that it's going to better enable me to be the kind of mom that I want to be. And I wanted to share that journey with you in the hopes that maybe it will encourage you to take a deeper look at the motivations behind some of the health decisions that you've been making and prioritize your long-term health over what feels good and looks good right now. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope it encouraged you. And if it wasn't necessarily for you, if this isn't something you struggle with, if it didn't really speak to you, that's okay. But if you think that it might help someone else, feel free to share it. I really want my experience to encourage other women to be the best versions of themselves they can be, so that they can be the kind of mom that they want to be. All right, thanks for watching. It's a quicker video today, and I'll see you next week.